In the Bible, we read of many characters. Many of us have heard of the Nephilim and other giants. Who were they? The Bible enlightens us. Giants are mentioned in the Bible in several places. The Anakites. Before the arrival of the Israelites, the Anakim or Anakites were a formidable race of giant, warlike people who occupied the lands of southern Israel near Hebron. Deuteronomy 2:10. The Emims dwelt therein times past, a people great and many and tall as the Anakims. Deuteronomy 9:2. A people great and tall, the children of the Anakims, whom thou knowest and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? Joshua 15:13. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua. Even the city of Abra, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. The Anakim's ancestors can be traced back to Anak, the son of Abra, who was regarded as the greatest man among the Anakim at the time. Joshua 15:13. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even the city of Abra, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. Joshua 21:11. And they gave them the city of Abra, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, were the suburbs thereof around about it. The name Anakim most likely means long-necked. The Hebrews believe they were descendants of the Nephilim, a powerful race that ruled the pre-flood world. Genesis 6:4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. When the 12 Israelite spies returned from exploring the Promised Land, they reported a terrifying sighting of people great and tall, whom they identified as Anak's sons. Deuteronomy 9:2. A people great and tall, the children of the Anakims whom thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? Fear gripped the Israelites, and they saw themselves as grasshoppers in their sight. Numbers 13:33. So they rebelled against God and refused to enter the land God had promised them. Numbers 13:33. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Deuteronomy 1:26-28. Notwithstanding ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandments of the Lord your God. And ye murmured in your tents, and said, because of the Lord hated us, he hath brought us forth out of the land of Egypt, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our heart, saying, the people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven, and moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakims there. Moses exhorted the Israelites to not be afraid of the Anakim. Deuteronomy 1:19. But they refused to believe God's promises. Deuteronomy 1:32-33. Yet in this thing ye did not believe the Lord your God, who went in the way before you, to search you out a place to pitch your tents in, and fire by night, to show you by what way we should go, and in a cloud by day. As a result, God became enraged and barred the evil generation from entering the Promised Land, with Joshua and Caleb being the only exceptions. Deuteronomy 1:34-39. And the Lord heard the voice of your words, and was wroth, and sware, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land, which I swear to give unto your fathers, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, he shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he hath trodden upon, and to his children, because he hath wholly followed the Lord. Also the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, saying, thou also shalt not go in thither. But Joshua the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and until them will I give it, and they shall possess it. The children of Israel were forced to wander in the wilderness for another 38 years due to their fear of the Anakim and their rebellion against God. During the conquest of Canaan, Joshua drove the Anakim out of the hill country, and Caleb finally drove them out of Hebron. However, a small number of survivors sought refuge in the cities of Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. Joshua 11:22. There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel. Only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained. Many Bible scholars believe that Anakim's descendants were the Philistine giants that David faced, such as Goliath or Gath. More on him later. The Nephilim. Scripture indicates that some of Satan's fallen angels failed to maintain their proper domain by materializing and interacting with humans in ways angels were never meant to. Genesis 6:1-4 depicts this interaction. Genesis 6:1-4. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they choose. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. There is no indication of angelic or demonic involvement at first glance, but the book of Job provides the needed context. In the book of Job, Satan dares God, claiming that if he is given permission to inflict suffering, Job will change and curse God. God allows Satan to torment Job in order to put his bold claim to the test, but he prevents Satan from taking Job's life. Job receives 4 reports in a single day, each informing him that as his sheep, servants, and 10 children have all died as a result of thieving invaders or natural disasters. Job becomes bitter, anxious, and scared as a result of his ordeal. He laments God's inequity in allowing evil people to flourish, while he and many other good people suffer. Job wishes to confront God and express his displeasure, but he is unable to do so. He believes that wisdom is hidden from mankind, but he vows to seek it through fear of God and avoidance of evil. God finally reveals himself to Job and demonstrates his omnipotence to Job by recounting his power over creation. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Job 38:4-7. Angels are the best way to interpret the morning stars. We also know that mankind had not yet been created when God laid the foundation of the earth. So the reference to sons of God is another reference to angels, implying that the sons of God mentioned in Genesis 6 are also angels. When these beings saw the daughters of men, they were filled with lust, and the angels cohabitated with the women. This resulted in the creation of Nephilim, who were half angelic and half human. The fallen ones in Genesis 6 may have been attempting to prevent the serpent's crushing, and thus making the birth of a sinless seed of the woman impossible. This, once again, is not a biblically specific answer, but it is biblically plausible. God's judgment of Nephilim and their unholy heritage. This violation of God's predetermined boundaries so irritated him that he immediately sent a flood to destroy the entire earth, as well as all traces of these unholy unions. The Nephilim were one of the primary causes of Noah's great flood. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become, and that every inclination of his heart was only evil all the time. God's word says immediately after the mention of Nephilim, the Lord was distressed that he had created man on earth, and his heart was filled with anguish. Genesis 6:4-8. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. God then flooded the entire earth, destroying everything except Noah, his family, and the animals on the ark. Everything else perished, including the Nephilim. Genesis 6:11 through 22. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. It appears that the fallen angels sinned again after the flood. It is likely, however, that it occurred to a much lesser extent than before the flood. After scouting the land of Canaan, the Israelites returned to Moses with, And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. This passage does not say the Nephilim were present. Rather, it says the spies thought they saw the Nephilim. It is more likely that the spies mistook very large people in Canaan for the Nephilim out of fear. During their invasion of Canaan, the Israelites destroyed these giants. Joshua 11:21 through 22. At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country, from Hebron, Debir, and Anab, from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them in their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any survive. These giants were also destroyed by the Israelites later in their history. It's the flood of Noah's day in which God saved only 8 souls through the ark. 8 souls who were from a godly line and not a product of angelic debauchery. The offending angels were also cast down to hell and bound in chains of darkness, according to the story. 2 Peter 2:3 through 5. And through covetousness shall they have feigned words, make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long line lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Riphates. Og, king of Bashan, Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron, is it not in Rabath, of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. In the days of Moses, Og, king of Bashan, was a mighty and infamous Amorite king who fought the Israelites on their way to the promised land. God gave the Israelites victory over King Og's forces, and Moses and the Israelites took possession of Bashan, a fertile land east of the Jordan River. The victory was significant because of Og's terrifying strength and the Israelite forces' relative inexperience. A battle with another Amorite king, Sihon, preceded the Israelites' encounter with Og, king of Bashan. Moses had requested that Sihon allow the Israelites to pass through the land, promising not to take any of the Amorites' resources along the way. But Sihon instead gathered his forces and attacked the Israelites. God gave Moses and the Israelites the ability to defeat the Amorites and take their land. Numbers 21:21 through 31. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields, or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well, but we will go along by the king's highway, until we be past thy borders. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together, and went out against Israel into the wilderness, and he came to Jahaz, and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Arnon. Wherefore they speak in Proverbs, say, Come into Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and prepared. For there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It hath consumed Ar of Moab, and the lords of the high places of Arnon. Woe to thee, Moab! Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh! He hath given his sons that escaped, and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. We have shot at them. Heshbon is perished even unto Dibon, and we have laid them waste even unto Nopath, which reacheth unto Medeba. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. Then the Israelites made their way toward Bashan, and King Og came out to confront them at Edrei. Numbers 21:33 through 34. Then they turned and went up along the road toward Bashan. And Og, king of Bashan, and his whole army marched out to meet them in the battle of Edrei. The Lord said to Moses, Do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him into your hands, along with his whole army and his land. Do to him what you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. The battle between Og's forces and Moses' forces is described in greater detail in Deuteronomy. According to the text, Og ruled over 60 fortified cities, all of which the Israelites conquered. Deuteronomy 3:3 through 7. So the Lord our God delivered into our hands Og, also the king of Bashan, and all his people, and we smote him until none was left to him remaining. And we took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we took not from them. 60 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fenced with high walls, gates, and bars, beside unwalled towns a great many, and we utterly destroyed them, as we did unto Sihon king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the cattle and the spoils of the city we took for a prey to ourselves. He was also a very large man. His bed was made of iron, and was of enormous size, 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide, 13.5 feet long and 9 feet wide. The inclusion of this detail highlights Og's size. A man in need of this size bed was most likely tall, 10 or 11 feet. This interpretation is supported by the fact that Og was one of the last Rephites, Deuteronomy 3:11, indicating that he was tall and strong. Deuteronomy 2:20 through 21. That also was accounted a land of giants. Giants dwelt therein in old time, and the Amorites called them Zamzummims, a great people, and many and tall as the Anakims. But the Lord destroyed them before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead. The Rephites, or Rephaim, were a people who lived in Canaan and elsewhere during Moses and Joshua's time. The term Rephites is a descriptive term, not an ethnic one. It literally means terrible ones. The Rephaim were giants and fierce fighters. Earlier, when the Israelites had first tried to enter the Promised Land, the spies reported the land was populated by giants, whom they called Nephilim, and the sons of Anak. Numbers 13:32 through 33. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land, through which we have gone to search it, is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are of men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so were in their sight. Og, king of Bashan, was one of the last of this race of giants. Og and his sons all died as a result of their foolish opposition to God's people. Numbers 21:35. Despite King Og's enormous size and strength, God granted Israel's army victory, and they took possession of the land of Bashan. Manasseh's half-tribe inherited Og's territory. Joshua 13:29-30. And Moses gave inheritance unto the half-tribe of Manasseh. And this was the possession of the half-tribe of the children of Manasseh by their families. And their coast was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, and all the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and all the towns of Jair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities. There is nothing too difficult for God, nothing is too difficult for him. Matthew 19:26. But Jesus beheld them, and said unto them, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. God does not quake before giants, and neither should his children.